Thanks for staying with us. The prison sentence of former President Jacob Zuma came to an end yesterday. Correctional Services has confirmed the 80-year-old's release from their system. Zuma was serving a 15-month jail term after being convicted for contempt of court by the Constitutional Court last year. For some analysis, we're now joined by Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni, a Senior Legal Analyst. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. The matter's seemingly done and dusted. What does it mean for the former president?
Yeah, good evening, and to you and the viewers. Indeed, as you quite correctly pointed it out, the 15-year prison term has actually lapsed, and the former president is out of the correctional services system. So it means that he is free, to continue actually, living his life, the normal life outside the system of the correctional services, because let's not forget that the moment he was released, he was still under the supervision of the correctional services in terms of the provisions of the Correctional Services Act. So it's important, hence you saw the announcement that the correctional services has made in relation to his release from their system.
Perhaps let's take a few steps back just to remember exactly how he landed in this situation. I mean, we all remember the ripple effects countered by other factors of the July unrest.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're quite correct. There was a commission of inquiry, the Zondo Commission. He was supposed to appear there and he did not appear, and then the non-appearance actually resulted in litigation going back and forth in court, and then the Zondo Commission took the matter to the Constitutional Court, where the Constitutional Court sentenced him to a term of imprisonment, which when it started, it created unrest in the country, as you have correctly indicated, and then he served a portion of his sentence, which I think was about 2 months, and he was released on medical parole. And then after being released on medical parole, we know that there's a challenge that was made by the DA at the High Court in Pretoria, and the DA was successful in setting aside his sentence, and then his sentence was set aside. And after, actually the court said that the prison sentence must actually be effective and he must go back to jail, and that was appealed at the Supreme Court of Appeal, and now the Supreme Court of Appeal is seized with that matter to determine whether he goes back to jail or not. So
we could, depending on the outcome, the validity of his release could still be under scrutiny, and perhaps he could go back to jail. Absolutely. You're actually quite correct, because now there's a judgment which has been appealed, which says that he must go back to jail to actually serve the sentence, because his release was unlawful. So we are waiting for the ruling of the Supreme Court of Appeal in that regard as to what actually happens relating to him going back to jail. So basically, yes, we might be correct, but that matter is sub judice. It's still in the Supreme Court of Appeal to be determined by the Supreme Court of Appeal, hearing the evidence and the merits of the matter to actually determine whether indeed he should actually go back to complete the remainder of his sentence in prison. So in reacting to the news, former President Jacob Zuma has said that he's saddened by how it all transpired, that he never thought in a democratic South Africa that he would be put in jail. What does this now speak to, perhaps on the precedent set when it comes to the legal system in South Africa? Yeah, look, I don't want to actually make any direct comment on that statement, but I will say that the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa says no one is above the law, and everyone should respect the law. So I think that is a very important premise which the Constitutional Court emphasized in that judgment. So the respect of the law is important for the South African citizens, and also the issue of equality before the law, because hence there is an outcry that the law favors the other people, and then the other, being the poor, are not favored by the law. So that is a very much important premise, and for me, that the sentence which was given by the Constitutional Court was showing that indeed the Constitution should be supreme and should be above the law, and all of us must comply with the law, and that is what is important. That was the tone that was set by the Constitutional Court in that judgment. So whether you are a president, whether you are a minister, whether you are a premier,
if you are found guilty, we expect the law to actually take its own course, and we expect that there must be equality before the law. That is what is important.
Yeah, absolutely. But we know that the former president's legal woes are far from over, especially looking at the, arms deal graft trial and the showdown with Advocate Billy Downer.
Yeah, no, you're quite correct. There's still pending matters that are in court that the president is pursuing, either as a complainant himself in terms of the private prosecution that you're talking about against the Billy Downer, and also the arms deal that is actually proceeding at the Peter Maritzburg High Court. So indeed, you're quite correct that this continues, and we will yet to see what becomes of those matters that go long back since 2000, and I think there must be finality in those matters, and we are waiting for the courts to actually proceed with the matter, and then we'll see how the trial proceeds.
Very well. Thank you so much for weighing in there, Advocate Romeo Nthambeleni, a Senior Legal Analyst, speaking to former President Jacob Zuma being a free man, at least for now.